Welcome to part 46 of the Ultimate Unsolved Mysteries Iceberg, where we explore true crime, urban legends, mysterious disappearances, myths and legends, internet mysteries, and more. Also, make sure to hit that notification bell since I drop new content all the time. The disappearance of the Stardust. The Stardust, a British South American Airways Avro Lancastrian, disappeared on August 2nd, 1947, during a flight from Buenos Aires, Argentina, to Santiago, Chile. The aircraft was piloted by experienced Captain Reginald Cook, with other crew including a first officer, a radio operator, an engineering officer, and 2 cabin attendants. The flight also carried 6 passengers. The flight took off from Buenos Aires at 1:46 p.m. local time and was expected to land in Santiago at 5:45 p.m. The weather was reportedly poor, with thick clouds and snow in the Andes Mountains, the final leg of the journey. At 5:41 p.m., 4 minutes before the scheduled landing, Stardust's radio operator sent a Morse code message to the Santiago control tower. The message read, ETA Santiago 1745 HRS Stendek. The word Stendek has since become one of aviation's greatest enigmas, with numerous theories attempting to decipher its meaning. Shortly after, all communication ceased, and Stardust never arrived. Immediate search efforts were launched, but the aircraft's remote and rugged route made the search difficult. British, Chilean, and Argentine authorities scoured the Andes for days, but no wreckage or signs of the aircraft were found. The disappearance led to much speculation. Initial theories included the plane being hijacked or forced to land in a remote location, but no evidence supported these ideas. The most plausible theory was that Stardust had crashed in the Andes, but the lack of wreckage left the mystery unsolved. Decades passed with no sign of Stardust, fueling conspiracy theories and speculation. Some suggested the aircraft was caught in a time warp or vortex, a popular idea in the early years of the Cold War. Others believed the plane had been involved in a secret mission, which led to its disappearance being covered up. In 1998, climbers in the Andes discovered wreckage, including an engine and human remains, at an altitude of approximately 15,000 feet. The site was identified as the crash location of Stardust. The wreckage was found on Mount Tupungato, about 50 miles east of Santiago. Subsequent investigations revealed that the plane had likely flown into the mountain during its descent. The crash was attributed to controlled flight into terrain, a situation where an airworthy aircraft is unintentionally flown into the ground, often due to navigational errors or poor visibility. Analysis of the wreckage and remains concluded that the aircraft had impacted the mountain at high speed, disintegrating on impact and triggering an avalanche that buried the debris. This explained why the wreckage was not found during initial searches. The debris field remained hidden under ice and snow for over 50 years before finally emerging due to glacial movement. The mysterious Stendek message remains a topic of debate. Various interpretations have been proposed, including the possibility that it was a misinterpretation of Morse code due to stress or poor signal conditions. Another theory suggests it was an acronym for a technical term, though none have been definitively proven. Thetis Lake Monster. The Thetis Lake Monster, a cryptid from British Columbia, Canada, was first sighted in 1972. Known also as the Canadian Lizard Man, this creature has been described as an aquatic reptilian humanoid, approximately 5 feet tall, covered in silvery scales. The creature was first reported on August 17, 1972, by 2 teenage boys. They described an encounter with a monstrous entity while they were on the shores of Thetis Lake, near Victoria, BC. The boys claimed the creature emerged from the water, prompting them to flee in terror. According to their description, the monster was roughly humanoid with large, bulging eyes, a fish-like mouth, and a body covered in scales and spikes. This sighting was reported to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, who took the boys' claims seriously and initiated an investigation. A few days after the initial report, 2 other teenagers claimed to have seen the monster while fishing at Thetis Lake. They described seeing the creature rise from the water before submerging again. Interestingly, many years later, one of them admitted that they had fabricated their story after hearing about the initial sighting. I note that this has been cited by skeptics as evidence that the creature cannot be real. However, I don't see how a copycat faking a sighting negates the first sighting. In 2010, another group of teenagers reported a similar sighting, describing a large, dark creature with a long tail and a head resembling a crocodile swimming in the lake. This modern sighting reignited interest in the mystery and added to the creature's lore. The legend of the Thetis Lake monster may have roots in local Native American folklore. According to the Kwakwa'apilt First Nation, a powerful water spirit is believed to inhabit Thetis Lake, which some have cited as evidence for the monster. And yes, I guarantee I did butcher that pronunciation. This spirit, described as a protector of the natural world, could be the mythological precursor to the monster sightings reported in modern times. Over the years, numerous theories have emerged to explain the sightings of the Thetis Lake monster. Some speculate that the creature could be a surviving member of a prehistoric species, while others believe it might be a new, unidentified species of aquatic reptile. Comparisons have been made to the Gill Man from the 1954 film Creature from the Black Lagoon, but the differences in physical descriptions suggest a distinct entity. Skeptics propose more mundane explanations. Some suggest that the sightings could have been hoaxes or misidentifications of common animals or objects. Further, given that one of the witnesses admitted to fabricating the sighting, this adds credence to the hoax theory, at least according to the skeptics. The creature continues to be a subject of debate, drawing both believers and skeptics to Thetis Lake in hopes of catching a glimpse of the mysterious beast, or debunking it once and for all. The Vanishing of the Patanella. The Patanella, a 63-foot schooner, departed from Fremantle, Western Australia, on October 16, 1988, destined for Airlie Beach in Queensland. The crew consisted of skipper Ken Jones, his wife Noreen, crew members Michael Calvin and John Blissett, and for part of the journey, their daughter Ronna Lee. The journey was supposed to be routine, but on November 8, 1988, the Patanella disappeared without a trace. The last known communication from the vessel came around 1 a.m., when Ken Jones radioed in to report they had run out of fuel, but were not in distress, intending to sail towards Sydney Harbor. Later calls included odd requests for directions, and were followed by a final cryptic transmission filled with static. Despite extensive searches, no trace of the schooner or its crew was found immediately following the disappearance. The only physical evidence recovered was a buoy marked Patanella Fremantle, discovered off Terrigal, New South Wales in 1989. Adding to the mystery, a message in a bottle dated October 23, 1988, was found on a remote beach near Eucla in 2008. Written by John Blissett, the note described their voyage and included a phone number for a free holiday prize, further deepening the mystery. Various theories have been proposed over the years to explain the disappearance of the Patanella. One theory suggests the yacht may have collided with a larger vessel, such as a container ship. Such a ship would have had the capacity to destroy the smaller schooner without leaving significant evidence. However, there was little maritime traffic reported in the area at that time. Another theory involves possible foul play, such as piracy or illegal activities involving illicit substances, although no concrete evidence supports this. The Australian government conducted an inquiry in 1992, concluding that the vessel most likely foundered and sank on November 8th, shortly after its last radio transmission. Despite this official conclusion, the absence of any definitive wreckage or remains has kept the mystery alive and subject to ongoing speculation and intrigue. What's up, everyone? It's your boy Jimmy here. Let me take a brief moment to promote my channel. If you're enjoying my content, please hit the like and subscribe buttons and the notification bell. Also, if you really want to take it to the next level, please consider signing up for a YouTube membership or a Patreon membership. You can support for as little as 99 cents a month. Also, remember to join the Discord as well. We've got just over 100 members at this point. The Yonaguni Monument. The Yonaguni Monument, discovered in 1987 off the southern coast of Yonaguni Island, Japan, is a submerged rock formation that has stirred significant interest and debate among scientists. This mysterious structure, located near Japan's Ryukyu Islands, consists of massive, flat stones arranged in terraces, steps, and other linear formations. Some have proposed these resemble man-made architectural elements or structures, and the origin of the Yonaguni Monument is hotly contested. Some experts argue that the monument is a natural formation shaped by the erosive forces of water and tectonic activity, characteristic of the seismically active region. They point to the stratigraphy of sandstones, which can naturally fracture in straight lines and angles that might appear man-made from certain perspectives. On the other hand, a faction of researchers, including renowned Professor Masaki Kimura, contends that the monument is man-made. Kimura, having studied the site for over 2 decades, suggests that the monument could be the remnants of an ancient civilization, potentially linking it with Lemuria. His observations of tool marks, carved turtles, and meticulously arranged stones bolster his argument for human craftsmanship. The Yonaguni Monument has also been linked to various theories about ancient civilizations and potential ritualistic or ceremonial use. The debate extends to include speculations about connections to the Ryukyu Kingdom or even to the enigmatic site of Nan Madol in Micronesia, drawing parallels between their architectural styles. The geological setting of the Yonaguni Monument suggests it could have been above water around 10,000 years ago. This period corresponds to the last ice age, implying significant environmental changes might have led to its submersion, thereby preserving what could potentially be a snapshot of prehistoric architectural practices. The monument's location at a depth of 20 meters underwater presents unique challenges for archaeology. The strong currents and poor visibility often hinder detailed study, which necessitates the use of advanced underwater archaeology techniques. Despite the absence of definitive archaeological evidence to conclusively prove whether the structure was formed by natural geological processes or by human hands, Yonaguni continues to fascinate. The Library of the Moscow Tsars. The Library of the Moscow Tsars, often referred to as the Lost Library of Ivan the Terrible, captures the mysteries surrounding its existence and eventual disappearance. This repository, steeped in legend and scholarly debate, supposedly housed an extensive collection of valuable manuscripts, including ancient Greek, Egyptian, and Latin texts. The origins of the library trace back to the 15th century when Sophia, descending from the Byzantine imperial family, married Ivan III, the Grand Prince of Moscow. Sophia allegedly brought with her a significant collection of texts that constituted part of the library originally amassed by Byzantine emperors. This collection was further expanded under the reign of their grandson, Ivan the Terrible, who is said to have sent emissaries across Europe to acquire rare manuscripts to augment this library. The exact fate of the library remains one of the greatest cultural mysteries in Eastern Europe. Following Ivan the Terrible's death in 1584, the library vanished without a trace. Over the centuries, various theories have been proposed about its fate. Some suggest that the library was hidden beneath the Kremlin to protect its contents from being destroyed or looted during periods of conflict and turmoil, particularly during the time of troubles in early 17th century Russia. Another theory suggests one of the several great fires that swept Moscow in the 16th and 17th centuries led to the end of the collection. Perhaps the most fanciful version of what happened to the library is that the leather-bound books were eaten while the city of Moscow was under siege. The search for the library has been a centuries-long endeavor that has fascinated both treasure hunters and scholars. In the 19th century, significant efforts were made to locate it, with figures like Professor Thramer of the University of Strasbourg searching for hidden subterranean chambers under the Kremlin, where the library was rumored to be stored. Despite these extensive searches, no conclusive evidence of the library's existence has been unearthed, leading some scholars to doubt its existence altogether. Despite the lack of physical evidence, the story of the library continues to hold a significant place in Russian cultural history. The idea that such a collection could have existed offers a tantalizing glimpse into the intellectual life of the Moscow Tsars and the broader historical narrative of Russia's engagement with the intellectual currents of Europe and the Byzantine Empire. Despite the skepticism of some historians regarding the library's existence, the allure of discovering such a trove continues to inspire both academic and amateur investigations. Kingston Hill slaying. In the early hours of September 22, 1881, Police Constable Fred Atkins was patrolling Kingston Hill in London, a neighborhood troubled by frequent burglaries. Atkins was found severely injured outside a mansion, having sustained multiple gunshot wounds. Despite his injuries, he managed to communicate that he had not seen or heard anyone before the attack. The discovery of Atkins' body near the mansion's entrance revealed key details. A lantern and a chisel were found close by, suggesting an interrupted burglary. A nearby window had its iron bars removed, likely by the intruders. Witnesses reported hearing the gunshots, but no one saw the assailants, leaving authorities with minimal evidence. One prime suspect was Frank Brockwell, a local blacksmith whose boots matched footprints found at the scene. Despite this, he was released after extensive questioning due to insufficient evidence. The lack of concrete leads resulted in the case growing cold, and no one was ever convicted. Several theories have been proposed over the years. Some suggest that Atkins stumbled upon a group of burglars who panicked and shot him. Others believe that the crime was planned and executed by individuals familiar with Atkins's patrol route. Theories also speculate on the involvement of local criminals who might have had motives to target a law enforcement officer. This case played a crucial role in the decision to arm police officers in the UK. However, it wasn't until a second fatal incident in 1882 and an attempted slaying in 1883 that authorities finally authorized constables to carry weapons on dangerous night patrols. The jumping Frenchman of Maine is a rare and curious disorder that surfaced among a group of lumberjacks in the late 19th century. This phenomenon, first described by Dr. George Miller Beard in 1880, has fascinated medical professionals and historians due to its unusual and extreme reflex reactions. Dr. Beard encountered the disorder in a group of lumberjacks working in the forests of Maine. These men exhibited an exaggerated startle response, now known as the jumping behavior. When startled, the affected individuals would respond with intense, involuntary physical reactions. These reactions included jumping, yelling, hitting, and even mimicking the commands or actions of others without control. The men Dr. Beard studied were all of French-Canadian descent, and this led to the initial assumption that the condition might be linked to their ethnic background. However, further investigations revealed that the disorder was not widespread among French Canadians outside these specific communities, suggesting that other factors might be at play. The disorder primarily affected adult males, with the onset typically occurring during adolescence or early adulthood. The intensity of the response varied among individuals, but in severe cases, the jumpers would display almost puppet-like reactions to sudden stimuli. For instance, if someone unexpectedly shouted or clapped near them, the affected person would leap into the air, shout, or even obey simple commands involuntarily, such as hitting someone or throwing objects. Several theories have been proposed to explain this bizarre condition. One theory suggests that it may be a form of hyperexplexia, a genetic disorder characterized by an exaggerated startle response. This mutation disrupts the normal inhibition of motor neurons, leading to the extreme reactions observed in those with the disorder. Another theory posits that the jumping Frenchmen of Maine may be a culturally bound syndrome, influenced by the social and environmental conditions of the lumber camps. The isolation, strenuous physical labor, and close-knit nature of these communities may have created an environment where such behaviors were more likely to manifest and be reinforced. In this context, the exaggerated startle response could have developed as a coping mechanism or a form of social bonding among the workers. Interestingly, similar phenomena have been documented in other cultures, further complicating the understanding of the disorder. In Malaysia, a condition known as lata involves similar involuntary mimicry and exaggerated startle responses, primarily affecting women. In Siberia, a condition called miria cheat shares characteristics with the jumping Frenchman of Maine, suggesting that this type of response might have deeper, perhaps universal, neurological roots. Despite the intriguing nature of the disorder, it remains relatively obscure, and few comprehensive studies have been conducted since Dr. Beard's initial observations. Modern interest in the jumping Frenchman of Maine has waned, partly due to the rarity of the condition and the lack of contemporary cases to study. However, it continues to be a topic of curiosity and discussion in both medical literature and popular culture. The laughing epidemic. The Tanganyika laughter epidemic was a strange phenomenon that began on January 30th, 1962, at a mission-run boarding school for girls in the village of Kashasha in Tanzania. The episode started with 3 girls, but quickly spread throughout the school, causing widespread panic and confusion. Within a few hours, nearly half of the 159 students were affected, exhibiting symptoms of uncontrollable laughter, crying, and restlessness. The school was forced to close on March 18, 1962. The closure, however, did not contain the epidemic. Instead, it spread to Shamba, a village where several of the students lived, affecting 217 people. From there, it continued to spread to other nearby villages, infecting hundreds of people over several months. The symptoms of the epidemic were varied but had common threads. Victims experienced episodes of uncontrollable laughter lasting from a few minutes to several hours. This was often accompanied by crying, pain, fainting, respiratory problems, rashes, and attacks of screaming. Despite extensive medical testing, no physical cause was found for these symptoms. Doctors and researchers were baffled, as there were no signs of infection, toxins, or other physical explanations. The epidemic's impact was significant. Several schools in the region had to close down temporarily as students and staff were affected. By the time the epidemic faded out in mid-1962, around 1,000 people were reported to have been affected. There are several theories about what caused the laughter epidemic. The most widely accepted explanation is that it was a case of mass hysteria, which can occur in a high-stress environment. The stress can be psychological, social, or a combination of factors. In the case of the Tanganyika laughter epidemic, several factors might have contributed to the outbreak. The students at the mission school were under significant pressure. They were living away from their families, adapting to strict school routines, and facing the challenges of adolescence. Additionally, the region was undergoing social and political changes following Tanganyika's recent independence from British colonial rule in 1961. This period of transition may have contributed to heightened stress levels among the population. Another theory suggests that the laughter epidemic could have been a form of social mimicry, where individuals unconsciously imitate the behaviors of others around them. In tightly knit communities, such behaviors can spread quickly. The initial laughter episodes among the schoolgirls may have triggered a chain reaction, with others mimicking the behavior either consciously or unconsciously. Cultural factors might also have played a role. In many African cultures, expressions of emotion through laughter or crying can be communal activities, deeply embedded in social interactions. The laughter epidemic could have been an extreme manifestation of this cultural expression, amplified by the stressful conditions and the close-knit nature of the communities involved. While the epidemic eventually subsided, the exact cause of the epidemic remains a mystery. Make sure to check out the YouTube membership and Patreon. You can support my channel for as little as 99 cents a month. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you haven't done so already. Shout out to my patrons Noah Schubert, Iced Mocha, Kurt the Squirt, Monoxide Wendigo, Jeffer Metcalf, Z Volts, Director Delta, Unknown Delusions, Faye, Jack Russell, Boomslang, and Blasphemous. Also, big shout out to YouTube member Jordan All. Until next time, stay safe and healthy. Peace out, everyone.